G.I. Joe number 4 from October 1982 marks a small, but notable shift in the credits box. Our cover features Hawk looking somewhat off-model, something to be expected maybe in the early days of a multimedia property. This issue represents the first plotting effort by Herb Trimpe, who would go on to plot, and occasionally script, a surprising number of fill-in stories throughout the Marvel years. Among his contributions was the curious distinction of penning the only Marvel appearance of Crystal Ball, a minor villain best remembered for his lenticular chest plate and dubious hypnotic powers, in a story drawn by the formidable Dave Cockrum. Hama's responsibilities as a Marvel editor, and his acknowledgement that he didn't have a bank of stories already dreamed up for the book as it launched, might explain why he only provides dialogue for the issue. Trimpe was, in many ways, an ideal G.I. Joe artist. His figures displayed a pre-1970s Kirby-esque dynamism, solid, bold, and slightly exaggerated in all the right ways. More crucially, Trimpe had a genuine passion for aviation, a lifelong enthusiasm that infused every dogfight and aerial sequence Hama handed him with a certain tactile authenticity. His mechanical draftsmanship lent the series a credibility few other artists could match. Tanks, helicopters, and jets felt as real as the stories required. In this issue, Cobra is swapped out for a group of rural Montana survivalists, proto-militia types who, at the time, were not yet the cultural shorthand for domestic extremism they would become after 1995's Oklahoma City bombing. One wonders whether such groups were even broadly on the public radar in the early 1980s, or whether the creators had a knack for mining obscure subcultures for pulp drama. The group, led by one Commander Wingfield, who may or may not have Cobra's fingerprints on him, is shady enough to warrant Joe involvement. Never one to delegate the fun stuff, Hawk assigns himself and Grunt to handle the insertion while Snake Eyes takes point on recon and backup. Of additional interest is a rare narrative device, Snake Eyes communicating through written notes, a modest but telling bit of characterization that would occasionally resurface in the series. Hama's enduring ability to weave esoteric military minutiae into accessible popular entertainment remains on full display here. What might otherwise read as arcane tactical exposition becomes, in Hama's hands, decent drama. Trimpe's tenure with Marvel would eventually wind to a quiet and unceremonious close. In 2000, long after his commercial heyday, the New York Times published excerpts from his personal journals, offering a candid, bittersweet account of his dismissal and the shrinking opportunities for veteran artists as the comic book industry contracted. His reflections capture a melancholy familiar to many craftsmen who outlived their era, gratitude for the years of steady work, confusion at the shifting tastes of the marketplace, and resignation at the end of a once steady career. As it turns out, Trimpe, he could write too, and quite well, much to the surprise of the era's comic snobs.